Good afternoon, and you're welcome to um, day 15 of the Holiday Bootcamp for toddler parents with Chioma Okoli. So, um, it's a bit dark where I am. I'm so sorry about that. I had to, I'm somewhere currently, but um, we need to go on. Okay, so forgive me for the darkness. I'm sure you can hear me. My voice, I'm going to speak um, very loud and clear. And I'm sure you pick a thing or two from our conversations for today. So, we are talking about raising toddlers that are not wounded. Okay? Raising toddlers that are not wounded. Now, before going, I am Chioma Okoli, and I am the founder of the Expectant Parent Academy, which is a coaching outfit for expectant parents and parents of toddlers. If this is your first time of watching, you're welcome. Please kindly hit the subscription button and hit the notification bell. It's a promise and an assurance that you find this channel useful, especially if you have a toddler or if you are expectant. This series precisely is for parents of toddlers. Okay, so trust me, you're going to have an amazing time here. Do well to check on the 1 to 14 of the Holiday Bootcamp and see what we've done, and then the activities are simple. They are things that you can listen through and put up structures, do the activities that you need to do, and then run with it. All right. So, um, thank you for coming in. So, start off immediately. I'm trying to put the link in the group so that people available can join in. Okay. So, as a way of introduction, when you don't have an established way of doing things in your house, anything and everything will go. If you don't have, talk about the adage that when the um, when the use of a thing is not known, abuse is inevitable. All right. So if you don't have an established pattern of how things should run in your home, how your toddler should be handled, how people in your immediate environment, how you've established that this is how you want your toddlers to be handled and all of that. If you don't have it set up, then you are in for a long thing, because it means anybody can come in today and discipline the children in his or her own standards. Another person will come around tomorrow, do it in a different dimension. Another person will come next tomorrow, and at the end of the day, you have children who don't even know who to take up cues from. Like um they are so exposed to things being done anyhow that when they don't even know who is showing them the right way to do things. And that's not a good way to start with your toddlers. All right. So by way of definition, um, we say that a child is wounded, okay, or talking about toddlers that are wounded, yeah, or how you can wrap your head around the idea of a toddler that is wounded. So this refers to experiences that brings about crisis of confidence that hurts the soul of the child. This makes the child feel unloved by the parents or the primary caregiver. Now, this is really of significance, especially when the activities that brings about crisis of confidence that hurts their soul is repeated again and again and again. All right. Sometimes these children may not be able to express themselves exactly the way they feel, the hurt that they are experiencing, or maybe when they do that, when they try to express that through cries and all of that, being irritable, being aggressive, being overly quiet, and all of that. We sometimes, if we don't pay close attention, we won't understand what is going on, we won't understand why they are acting the way they are doing. So you need to pay attention. You need to pay attention and know what's going on and why what is going on is happening the way it is. So how can a toddler spirit become wounded? We're going to discuss about four different ways that this can happen. The first one is words, gestures, actions, and inactions. By what I mean the kind of words you use on your children, the things you say to them, how you say it. Gestures talks about um, the way you look at the child, the kind of sign you give them, your body language. Actions, the things you do. Inactions, the things you do not do. Now I'm going to give a practical example. For instance, the child spills water on the floor and you go, you this boy or you this girl, you are always your child sometime with your child is coming to show something that has happened or something that the child sees on the skin or anything. The child is just coming to you to talk and you're giving that hand sign like go, 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 go. Those are gestures. Sometimes it could just be you give one bombastic side eye showing that don't come close. Okay, those gestures, those are also actions. Inactions are example of of inaction that and the child is now crying and expecting you to console him or her, and you ignore the child completely. Ignoring the child completely is an inaction. It's an example of inaction. You actually didn't raise your hand, you didn't say something, but ignoring that child on its own is something. And that's inaction on its own. So you really want to fix that. All right. When these things are done again and again and again, it sends the message to the child's brain that he or she is not loved, that he or she is not wanted. You honestly cannot imagine how far these things goes to traumatize the child. To these days, I see adults who cannot understand the concept of empathy, not to talk of practicing it. And that's exactly why you see a parent who is treating a toddler or who is trying to interact with a toddler as though that toddler is an adult. You see parents being resentful and being vengeful of their children. And in their mind, they are just, why is this child after my life or stuff like that? The child is not after your life. You simply do not understand what is going on. You simply do not understand that your child is passing through, is doing what he or she should do and what is okay for him or her at that particular age. If, however, the child starts doing things that are not right, then you should be there to redirect the child and show the child the other way that that particular thing can be done. All right? Okay, so the next one is environment. Other environment, I love to talk about visitors. I'd like to talk about when you or your child is a visitor outside or is visiting outside or when the child is in school. Now, um, oftentimes We entertain visitors in our house who come and spend time and all of that. And many times we turn our children into housemates, so to say, or start treating our children as though they don't exist simply because there is a visitor. Maybe the visitor comes in and the visitor is treating your child in a particular manner or communicating with your child in a particular manner that is not what is the norm in your home, and you're quiet simply because this person is a visitor and you want to respect him or her. I mean, come on. Even if there is no abuse going on, even if that there is no sexual or emotional abuse that is going on, that that visitor is meting on your children, the fact that the status quo, the fact that the peace, the harmony that that child is used to in the absence of that visitor suddenly disappears simply because there is a visitor, sends a message to your child's brain. Yes, simply that the fact that a visitor came around and then you start treating your child like your child is nobody, like your child is non-existent and all of that, it sends information to your child, and that information is the information that you're not loved. That information is the information that you are an inconvenience, or I choose my visitor, or I choose the visitor in the house over you, and all sorts. So did I say you should not entertain visitors? No, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that even when there are visitors in your house, your children, ensure that your children are comfortable. Okay, ensure that your what has been established in your home as per what 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 happens, or how the home is run, how you talk to your children, how everybody should talk to your children, even when there is a misbehavior, how the misbehavior should be handled, and all of that should not be put in the dustbin or should not be pushed in the backyard simply because there is a visitor. That's the point I'm trying to make. Your home, after you, after the parents, is the primary place for the children. So your children should actually feel safe and secure in your home before any visitor is made to feel at home. If the people that owns the home are not feeling at home, so how why would you want to make someone else to feel at home? I mean, even if it is, I don't know who the highest person for you is, or who the highest visitor is for you, but the point I'm trying to make is, at all points, do not think that your toddlers are too small. Do not think that your toddlers don't know anything. Do not think that your toddlers they will understand, or it doesn't matter, they will grow and they will forget it. Most times, moments or words that actually hurt their soul don't, growth don't take care of it, time don't heal it. But oftentimes we see adults who are reacting to things that they react to moments, and you're like, what is going on? You're confused because you know that the amount of energy that this person is putting into what is going on is far bigger than the real situation at hand. And so sometimes the person may not even remember, the person may not even be able to answer the question, why did I behave the way I did? Why did I react the way I reacted? But what has happened, and chances are that they will still repeat that same behavior if under the same circumstance, because what is causing, or what actually caused that outburst is actually deep seated. And studies have found out that the brain does not have the capacity to delete things that have been imputed into it. So that means if there is a good memory in the brain, chances are that it's still there, even though sometimes you may forget it, but it's there. And why it is out of your consciousness, it is still deep seated in your unconsciousness, and sometimes it's you react based on those unconscious, do I say, data that's been stored in your brain. So why would you want to really put your child in the place or in the spot where you build up unconscious data that would trigger them tomorrow. All right. The next one, the same thing applies when your children are visiting. Recently I was in a space, in a public space, went for a meeting, and then it happened that the environment, the surrounding where the meeting venue is, that some people park their cars there. All right. So my son was, immediately the car was parked, he started walking around the car. Not like he had any sharp objects that that he could scratch the car with or anything. He was just walking around it. Then somebody came and said, "Madam, hold your son." I was looking at the person that is saying, "Madam, hold your son." I was also looking at my son because I don't understand what that "Madam, hold your son" meant. Like I'm supposed to carry him on my body like a neonate, or I'm supposed to um like I didn't understand the idea of "Madam, hold your son." I just said okay, and I kept my eyes on him to be sure that he's not doing anything that is harmful either to himself or anything that is capable of damaging the vehicle parked there. Um, Another person now joined the initial person that said, "Madam, hold your son," and now went to him, was shouting at him. My son was looking at him, and then he will give me he will look at my direction, my eyes will be on him, and my face is expressionless. I'm like just looking. So the person finished shouting and left, and my son continued walking around the car. So the third time, the two of them now came. If it was possible for them to slap me, they would have slapped me for neglecting to take care of my child. In that instance, what they just wanted me to do was probably to beat him so that he will cry and everybody will now go back and sit down. And then they'll be like, "Yes, you're training your child well, blah, 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 blah." That's really not training your child well. A child, eh, eh, my son is like 3 years plus, and he wants a child of 3 years plus to actually sit still in a meeting. I don't get it. And there isn't a room for children, because I know that if there is a space for children and he had stayed there, at least he will be encouraged to sit still. And even if he wants to disturb, it will still be probably like it will still be something that can be contained easily than when he's on where adults are, and he's not even making noise, he's not even looking for anybody, so he was just walking around the car. That the third time when they now came and they were aggressive and they were shouting both at me and at my son, I just stood up, carried my son, and we left. And when I when I had time to think back at that incident, I was asking myself, is there a way I could have done this better without having to leave? Because although the meeting was coming to the end, but the meeting still had like 15 to 20 minutes to end and all of that. And I was wondering, these people just wanted me. It's not like the boy was actually doing anything. They just wanted him to sit still, which for an extroverted toddler, I know that there are toddlers who can sit still. Okay. There are toddlers who it's really not a big deal for them to stay in one place and all of, but then there are others who it doesn't come natural to them, and it doesn't mean anything is wrong with them. I have that kind of a son, and I understand it. I understand it. But there was a time we don't sit inside the church. When he started working newly, we don't sit inside the church because it will be a museum, so everyone available. But as he continued to grow and that habit continued, I realized that I could keep him where the children stay and leave him alone there, and he'll be fine. At least to reduce his disturbances and all of that. But the point here is, even when you are visiting outside, even when you are in a new environment, do not allow people to talk down on your child simply because you're in an environment that is not your home. Now, I'm not saying you should fight, I'm not saying you should exchange words with anybody. Like the example I gave, I didn't even say anything to anyone at any point. They would just say the thing, I'll look at them and okay, I said okay at least. But I didn't go saying, why are you disturbed? I didn't even show I was angry. You won't even say if I was angry or not. I was just seated, make sure my eyes were on my son to see that he's not either injuring himself or harming the vehicle that he was walking around. But this other adult felt I am not doing enough. I need to bundle him out of the place, hold him tight, or maybe slap him, or maybe flog him, or maybe do something that they are common with. But I have a different strategy, and so I didn't give in to what they wanted. Then they resorted to trying to intimidate me, sort of, and all of that. I knew I could walk away, and I chose the option of walking away. So protect your toddlers. Protect your toddlers. Sometimes, if we ask you something about your childhood that you didn't like, really, me personally, if you ask me something about my childhood I didn't like, it's the fact that when we are having, if you are to have visitors, we will walk or clean the house, wash the plates, the special plates that we've not been using, and when the food is finally ready, we may be made not to eat because the visitors, let's assume we cooked 5 cups of rice for 2 visitors, will be made to dish out the entire 5 cups for 2 visitors, so that by the time the visitors are now full and they don't want any more, the food will be returned, and that's when we can now start eating. It's something about my childhood that I didn't like, but I didn't have any power to do otherwise with my parents. So it was something I hated. So when we are having visitors, or when I know that we're going to have visitors, I am usually not happy because I know the hard work that will come with it, and the fact that it's not even like I will get to enjoy the food that I'll spend several hours running errands and washing plates and all of that and all of that. My parents actually didn't do those things to make us feel bad and all of that, but we felt bad. We did. And that's one thing I would never do. That's one thing we, in fact, not I would never, that's one thing we should never do to our children today. You have a set of special tables, special cutlery, special plates that is for special people, and then your children. Now let me make this clear. You may not want to use your breakables for children because accidents could happen and it will injure them. But how about giving them nice things, just like you're giving the visitors coming? How about giving them the nice treatment every day, just like you give visitors when they come? Okay. So at every point in time, whether at home or outside of the home, we must prioritize the care, the attention, the affection we give to our toddlers. It's important. Do not think they are too young or they are too small. All right. Then the next thing we'll talk about is parental unavailability. Hmm. Yeah. Um, the economic realities in the world today is not peculiar to any particular country. So those of us in Nigeria, we are feeling the heat. The people outside of Nigeria, they are also feeling the heat. So the economy right now is one that a lot of people are having to work harder than they used to. In a lot of family settings, you see mother and father doing regular job, regular 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, what have you, just to make ends meet, just to meet up with the financial responsibilities in the family. Now, why this is? a concern that I understand. You really want to do what you want to do, really want to go about both parents working in a manner that is not damaging the children. I've had a lot of helps, okay, um, both family and outsiders. I've had to, I've had helps, right? I was an undergraduate when I had my first two children, so you can imagine the fact that I really needed help. But at some point, one of the days, my husband had to go to work with my son and all of that, and so we needed, and we stayed with helps a lot. We still do now, okay. But the point I'm trying to make here is that no matter how wonderful your help is, okay, that's in the rare cases that they are really nice. No matter how nice your help is, your help can never take your place as a parent or as parents. They will do their job as good helps, but they cannot do the job of a parent. And you should really not use work or school or whatever excuse it is, provided you are healthy. You shouldn't use it as an excuse to be perpetually unavailable to your children. Not like they don't see you on a daily basis, but even when they see you, you are either busy on the phone, you're either busy on a call, you're either busy on the television, and so your interactions with them are minimal. You don't even want them to disturb you. You don't even want them to talk in. You just they are just there, and so many of us easily buy them stuff to keep them busy, stuff like screens, like tablets. Uh, we are Some of us are always readily willing to put on the television for them so that they can sit and focus on the television. I wouldn't have time to go in depth with why this is actually a wrong choice, okay? But within the first 3 years of your child's life, he or she is trying to bond, try to understand how the world works, try to understand what makes people happy, what makes people sad, how do I relate to people, how do I handle things, how do things work. They're trying to develop a psychological basis, something like I call psychological board. They're trying to lay the foundations in their emotions and all of that. And you are not there as a parent, or you are there as a parent and you are not informed enough to be of help to them. So this minute you're yelling, the next meeting you're hitting on the head, the next minute you're locking the person up, the next minute you're just giving the person tablet so that you can have some time and breathe and all of that. Self-care is important, rest is important, but you need to be in a position where you know what is going on in your child's life, where you can spend at least 10 to 15 minutes where you just concentrate on your child. You just pay attention, you just discuss, you just teach him or her something. Probably it's time in the kitchen, probably it's time in the dining table, probably get them involved. I really don't understand parents who think that because their child is still um, a toddler, then there's nothing they can do. You're not helping that child. When you're in the kitchen or you're dishing out their food, ask them to get the cups ready. Ask them to get the water ready. Keep the cups on the dining table, or keep the water in the dining table. They can get their spoons and rinse it while you're dishing out the food. Let let there be moments where you really show them that you care and you're there for them. It's important. So, when children are ignored, all right, mistreated, or shuffled between caregivers, terrible losses occur in thinking capacity. Okay, this is a research work that I just read out. Um, You think that it's just one episode today. You think that the child is still small, the brain will figure it out, the child will grow and forget it. That's you assuming. It doesn't actually happen that way. So you want to be available for your children as a parent. Now, I'm not saying this to any particular sex, whether the mothers or the fathers. Both parents actually are important in the life of a child in varying degrees, and their importance changes. It can increase over time. For instance, in the life of a boy, from the age of 6 and above, the son needs the father in such a great manner that he has never needed him before. He needs you need to see the father do things so he can learn how things are done and all of that, like how to be a man, how to behave, how to treat women, how to relate to people, and all of that. And that's why for boys who grew up in homes where there are domestic violence against their mothers, sometimes even when they don't like it, even when they fight it, some of them unfortunately end up like their fathers. And so they either hit their wives, or they are in the habit of hitting their subordinates, or they are in the habit of bullying people and all of that, just to show that they are a man and all of that. So from the age of 6, a boy needs his father very close. Now, I'm not saying father should not be available for children less than 6. No, I'm only saying that the need increases. So, as a father, you also need. In fact, there are lessons that I want to teach my 3-year-old plus, and I'll just say it casually when I'm with him, and then when the daddy comes back, I give the daddy update of what is going on, and I'll allow the daddy to now have a deeper conversation with him about that. And oftentimes, I've noticed for very serious things, sometimes when the father says those, gives the instruction, he pays attention to them more than when I do. It doesn't mean I am not a good mother. It doesn't mean I am not doing enough. It simply means that I understand that I used to relate with both of us differently and in different dimensions, and that's cool. All right. So parents, you really need to be available for your children, not when they are sick alone, not when there is problem in school, not when they've been expelled from school or suspended, and then you give them, you now concentrate attention on them, and even the kind of attention you're concentrating, you're yelling, you're blaming them, you're comparing them with their mates, you're and also be available for your children, dear parents. If you're not available, how do you know what is working or what is not working? How do you know what the child needs more per time? How do you know? Nobody can do this job for you. The grandparents can come in handy, but they can't take your place as parents. All right? Your children. Then, how do moments that could wound our children from our interactions with them? Infants. An infant is a child less than 1 year. For neonates and infants, neonates are children less than 28 days. So, um, basically, a neonate is also the age of neonate falls within infancy. Just that infancy is graded from 29 days to 1 year. All right. So, for your neonates and your infants, one of the ways, one of the primary, in fact, the primary way they show you distress is by cries. Okay. So that moment when your little one is crying, doesn't want to lie down on the bed, just wants you to cuddle him or her, but you have plates to wash, you have food to cook, you have the house to clean, and whatever you have. is at that point in time, do not just throw that child on the board, on the crib. I mean, on the bed, on the crib, or before the television and abandon the child. They need human communication. They need human love language. They need to be cuddled. They need to be made to feel. They need to know that you're there for them. They need to trust you. It's the period of infancy is a period of trust versus mistrust. You build their ability to trust that when they are in need or in distress, that mommy or daddy or whoever the primary caregiver is going to come to their rescue, is going to come for them. It is very important and key. Not many adults today are able to trust. And you can trace it back to things that happened in their childhood. You can trace it back to experiences, repeated experiences they had growing up. So the child is crying too much, the child is disturbing you, you're tired. Sorry, I can't understand. It's can really be tiring. But if the child knows a different way to communicate his or her discomfort, don't you think the child would use that different alternative that you probably prefer? But now the child doesn't know any better. So the only avenue he or she has to express discomfort is to cry. And that's why they are crying. So can you pay attention and really give that child what they want? I've heard a lot of parents complain that their child wakes up in the middle of the night and is just crying and all of that. If you have a child between a young 6 months and 2 years, or 2 years and few months, it's normal for them to cry in the middle of the night. Sometimes it's just because they are hungry. Sometimes it could be because their diaper is full or something. So when that happens, let your default reaction not be to ignore the child, not be to get angry at the child, not be to be unhappy with the child, but to give that child attention. Can you at least give the child food? Can you at least check the child's diaper, or if the child has stopped wearing diaper to bed, can you at least check to see if the child has buoyed on the bed and then the buoy is keeping him or her uncomfortable and then the child is crying and all of that? Look, there is something you can do. Just do that. Okay? And stop ignoring your children. There's been an argument between the self-soothing and pacifying a child when a child is distressed, whether you should allow the child to self-soothe him or herself, or you should cuddle the child and try to pacify him. There have been series of arguments, okay? There have been series of arguments, but the people who said that you should cuddle a child when the child is distressed or crying have my respect, because I really do not understand what other definition is of wickedness it is than that a child is crying. You don't know why that child is crying, and all you want to do is to ignore the child. For what, one? I mean, I don't understand. Even if you are not happy, or even if you're frustrated, or whatever reason it is you have, the child has no hand in that. Most likely, if you think that child has a hand in it, then it's you thinking wrongly. Okay, so um when the child is distressed, please give that child attention. Don't push them away. Don't shush them or tell them to shut up like we do. Some of us, you beat a child and you're telling the child to shut up. Really? A child is hungry and you tell the child to shut up. A child is uncomfortable in a place, uncomfortable with what he or she is wearing, and you really feel the child should understand that you have to be where you are. No, they don't understand. They don't understand. You are the one who is unwise. Okay, so I know that really does. I know that really didn't sound nice, but I mean, let's get the message. All right. So another one is when a child is facing downwards. Like somebody said something to your child and your child is just, quiet and looking dejected and all of that. Something harsh has been said to that child and it's hurting the child. Why the child may not be able to say, I'm hurting because of your words or because of something you're doing, or something you've done. That impression is being laid in their mind. The impression is being etched in your brain. And you really want to apologize immediately. You really want to fix whatever it is that has made that child to be looking down, from speaking with you and all of that. A child that came to you vibrant, or that came to you looking upwards or looking into your face, all of a sudden is now looking dejected, and you think, yes, I've knocked him in the corner I need him to be, or I've knocked her in the corner I need her to be. You want to address that and stop. You want to stop doing that. Then the third one is aggression. When a child starts being aggressive, you want to check who that child has been with, what that child has been exposed to, and who that child has been with includes you, the parent. Because oftentimes, some parents are really not exempted from the aggression source that their children pick up this aggression tendencies from. So once you see that aggression, you want to look at who your child has been with, what your child has been exposed to in the screen, in the environment, and the books they read, and all of that. Okay, so the next one is overly seeking attention, either positively or negatively. Now, my simple definition of positive attention seeking is the child seeking attention from you the easy way. Um, the child is coming to you, mommy, mommy, I color this, mommy, mommy, look at my cup, look at. That's the child wanting your attention positively. The child is not crying, the child is not fighting, the child has not done anything wrong. That is seeking, that is a positive attention seeking. Then negative, my easy definition of negative attention seeking is seeking attention by force. When you refuse to give your child positive attention, when you refuse to give your child attention positively, they will probably go and do something, probably break something, or pinch their sibling, or just do something that will now make you react. You now, you now lash out on the child and all of that. At least the child has gotten your attention, even though that negative one wasn't the way he or she wanted initially, and that negative one may really not be enough for what he or she needs. But for that instant, at least you've paid attention to the child, and it's good for him or her. So, what are the way out? What are the way out? Number one is stay informed. Stay informed. For all of you, everyone who has been a part of this holiday bootcamp, you are a part of it because you want to be informed. You're a part of it because you want to learn something. And I hope you've been learning. I hope from day one till day 15 today, you've been learning, you've been picking things to work with, and all of that. The point is, if we are informed, we'll do things the right way. And that right way will be the way that will not leave your child wounded. That right way is the way that will not leave your child confused about what to do. Is a way that will not, um, you know, make it difficult for your child to really know what it is mommy or daddy is up to. Okay, so kudos to every one of us who has been a part of this holiday boot camp, and who have been doing the activities and putting in everything we've been discussing into place. Then another one is stay close. Like I said when I was talking about parental unavailability, please stay close. If it means I have to, one of the parents, and most times the mothers, it means I have to step down. Okay, it means I have to stop your 8 to 4 or 9 to 5 work for a year or two, so that you give your children the springboard they need to function. Please explore that option. I am big on self development for women. I'm big on earning, independent earning. I'm big on, fulfilling purpose, making impact. I'm big on those. And if you know me, you know that I'm big on those. But the job, the role of being a parent trumps all of those. And um why you should see this as a serious thing is that every child that is born is not an accident. It doesn't matter if the parents prepared for the birth of that child or not. It doesn't matter if the parents were ready for the birth of that child or not. It doesn't matter if it was a rape that resulted in that child's life. Every child that is given to you is a treasure from God. That child is an asset that God has put in your hand for the benefit of mankind. And so, how you raise that child, or how you help that child to become an important person tomorrow, a person of worth to his or her a nation or society. God is watching. The extent to which you help these children is the extent to which they will be able to go through life without the confusion that is everywhere. Okay? So why those other ones are important? The role of being a parent is more important. And the good thing is there is only a period of time that you can lay the foundations that your children will run with. And if you miss being there in those critical periods, then there's going to be a problem. So if we have this knowledge and we realize that even if it means waiting for 2, 3, 4, 5 years before we now launch out big in the things we want to do, that it will be worth the wait. Because we're actually not waiting, we're actually building people, we're actually building um 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 we're actually making efforts, building into our children, incorporating values, incorporating skills, impacting knowledge that will make them thrive. Okay. Then another thing is, as I stay close, is build a community. Be in a parenting academy. Be in a parenting setting where you're giving experts opinion, where you're giving the knowledge, the skills you need to do your parenting job or responsibility on a daily basis. So being a parent is not seasonal. It's not it's not periodic. For as long as you live, you're a parent to that child. And for the first 18 years of your child's life, this is when you have the most. This is when you have the best window to impact that child. The Bible said, train a child in the way you should go, and when he grows up, he will not do what? He will not depart from it. That is really the best time to start this training. It starts from when that child is in the womb and continues until the child is 18. And the child now goes into the society, and you're now sitting back and looking at everything you've been doing for the past 18 years. So the fact that the baby you're carrying in your abdomen has been confirmed through a scan or through scans that your child is a baby girl, and you're getting things ready to welcome a baby girl, that is you actually getting ready for your parents. It was today there are a lot of parents who will have a boy and they wanted a girl, they will have a girl, they wanted a boy, and you see them dressing the girl like a boy or dressing the boy like a girl. You see them opening the ears of a boy, of a boy child, putting ankle, what do we call it? Putting anklets within the boy's head. And the truth is, some of us really do not understand why these people do the things they do. We feel it's fashion, we feel it's what everybody's doing. We feel no. When you know going to have a girl child, can you accept the fact that it's a girl child you're going to have and just give that girl child what he or she is going to need? Put them in place. If you know you're going to have a boy child, can you concentrate your energy in accepting your child as a son and training or bringing him up as sons are, or as sons are raised, rather? So, being in a parenting academy where you're giving directions on what to do on a daily basis, how to do it, and why that is important. So, this is where we'll come to the end of the live stream. This is where we'll come to the end of the discussion on raising toddlers who are not wounded. This is where we're coming to the end of the holiday bootcamp for toddler parents. So, if there is any question, put your question in the comment section, or you can put a question in the community group. It will be attended to. But before we end the live stream, I'd like to talk to us about the um, parent coaching for toddler parents that will be starting in September. Okay, the age of toddler, I mean, raising a child from 0 to 3, 4 years is such a task, and sometimes we are carried away by the stress, we are carried away by the mess, we are carried away by work, cares of friends, families, and every other thing, and we forget to actually be there in the present for our little ones. And so this um parenting coaching outfit for coaching community for parents of young children, um 4 year 3 4 years and less, is for you if you have children within that age range. And no, what you're going to do there is not it's not something you want to imagine. It's not something. You'll be exposed to crafted and established routines that is intended to bring you and your toddler together, that is intended to let you know what is going on in the life of your child per time, that lets you understand that certain things happen because that's the stage that child is in. And even when what the child is doing is not what you want at the moment, how do you redirect the action without fights? So, and then being able to daily put, or on a weekly basis, put down things that you want to see in your children and all of that. I've mentioned how I started working on my son obeying instructions because of something that happened. That being able to obey instructions, I for some weeks, for a number of weeks, the curriculum or the things I just wanted to teach my son was to get him to obey instructions. And I know I didn't teach him how to be empathic. I didn't teach him anything that what I was focused on, what we're focused on teaching him is to obey instructions. Because I don't know if you've come across adults before, but me, I've come across adults that find it extremely difficult to obey instructions. You give instructions for something, they heard you, they said okay to it, but when it's time for execution, the person will tell you a different story. And you're like, didn't you understand what I said? And the person will say, I did, but what is the but? Simply obey the instructions. And no, I'm not talking about giving instructions of, there are times when you should just obey the instructions. I want to have a child who knows when to and who knows when to ask questions and all of that. Now, the young age for the raising children who are really young can be tasked. I have two of them, so I know what I'm talking about. But it can be made easy. You can be made to structure it in a manner that you are not overwhelmed, you are not missing anything, your child is growing well in spirit, soul, and body. Your child's social, emotional, cognitive um, aspect is growing and developing excellently, and nothing is being lost. So um, if what I've explained is something what you would like to experience, I'll be dropping the other details in the group. I'll also drop the details on the comment section for people who are not in the group and want to reach out and all of that. It's starting in September to run from September till December, and then from January we'll start again. It's going to be an annual thing. So for the year we are starting in September, and for if you fail to come in September, then it means you need to wait until January 2024. So for the parts that is starting that will run from September to December, it will cost you only 20,000 naira to be a part of this class. I mean, 20,000 naira only. And then um, once you make your payments, reach out to me. I'm the only admin in the group, and then I'm also going to drop my contacts here on the comment section for people who are not in the group and so wouldn't get the updates in the group. Make your payment into the academy bank account, and then you can send your proof of payment to the phone number that will be attached. So thank you so much for being a part of this boot camp. Personally, um it's been a blessing to me, and I'm going to send in the group a holiday routine that I follow with my toddlers. If you've listened from the day one up until then, you will realize that I have two children, a boy and a girl. My son is this is August already. Okay, he'll be 4 um by 20th of this month, and then my daughter will be 2 years next month. My daughter hasn't been in school. My son has been, and my daughter will wait until she turns 3 before she's in school. So, but I have a routine for both of them. There are ones that they do together. There are ones that I do with my son. I do with my daughter differently. So, I'm going to send this schedule to the group. It's going to be my free gift for everyone, and for those that registers for the parenting coaching group or coaching community, you're going to get my new guide on teaching instructions. Okay, and you're also going to receive a journal template for noting the important things that is happening in your child's life, in their development, things you need to work on, and all of that. So I'll send that before the end of today or before the weekend is over. Yes, I'll send the guide I'll send the schedule, toddler schedule, before the weekend is over so that we can start working with it. I look forward to um, the discussions that will follow, and particularly I look forward to September, when this coaching communities will kick off, and then we'll start the job in earnest. So thank you so much for being a part of the bootcamp. Once again, I am Chioma Okoli, and I am the founder of the Expectant Parent Academy. Thank you for being with me.